Pokemon Pocket has really blown up over the last month, and a lot of people are really getting into the game, whether it be just collecting or actually playing the game, learning how to build decks and using different cards, and a lot of people seem to actually be interested in learning the actual Pokemon trading card game now. But for a lot of people, it can seem kind of intimidating at first. You don't really know where to start because there's a lot of different decks, there's a lot of cards that do very different and specific things, and overall the gameplay is just a lot more complicated on the surface level than Pokemon Pocket. So if you're looking for a quick overview of the differences between Pokemon Pocket and the actual trading card game, and you want to know where to get started in case you want to learn the trading card game, I got you. Now, obviously, there's a lot of different reasons to want to play the actual trading card game. One of the biggest reasons, of course, is a lot of people like to actually collect the cards, and sometimes you just want to kind of know what you're collecting. Now, I personally got into the trading card game towards the middle of last year, and I'm actually really glad that I did because it is a lot of fun. It's really fun getting to go to in-person events, play against people, and to actually play online in online tournaments. So one of the big reasons to actually learn the game is because there's a big community out there, people that love playing the game, and it's just a fun time overall. There's a lot of local scenes, local card shops that host tournaments, and then there's, of course, regional events across the states and really across the entire world. And overall, the game is growing at a crazy rate, so there's no better time to pick up the game than right now. Now, since I know a lot of people watching this are coming from Pokemon Pocket, let's go ahead and talk about the differences between Pocket and the actual TCG. So to start off, the big difference right away is that in Pokemon Pocket, you have a 20 card deck, and with the actual TCG, you have a 60 card deck. So obviously with 60 cards versus 20 cards, you can already tell that the games are going to be longer than they are in Pocket. Pocket's a lot more fast paced, the games are quicker, and with the regular TCG, games can go up to, honestly, 30-40 minutes sometimes. Now, a big reason why the decks in Pokemon Pocket are so small is because there are no energy cards. You have your energy zone. Every turn you can attach one energy from the zone. With the actual TCG, of course, you do have energy cards. And again, another big difference, of course, is the, I guess the way that you actually win the game. In Pokemon Pocket, you need to collect 3 points to win. So you can get that by knocking out 3 Pokemon or knocking out 1 EX Pokemon, which gives you 2 points, and a regular Pokemon to add up to 3. With the actual TCG, you have to collect 6 prize cards to win. Now, what are prize cards, you might be asking? Basically, at the start of the game, 6 of your cards go face down. You don't get to use those cards, and then every time you take a knockout, you get to draw 1 prize card, or if you knock out like a big EX Pokemon, you'll get to take 2. So obviously, it takes a little bit longer to take all the prize cards. There are, of course, alternate win conditions, just like there is in a lot of different things. One of those being if you run out of cards to draw, then you actually lose the game. So if at the start of your turn you have no more cards left in your deck to draw, then you instantly lose. And the reason why I specifically mentioned that is because there are certain decks that rely on that strategy. There's multiple different strategies, of course, for each and every deck, but there are some decks that are literally built to just make you run out of cards as fast as possible, or if you play Snorlax, as slow as possible. And lastly, the other big main difference, of course, is turn 1, and this is a big one. A lot of people that play Pocket hate the turn 1 system, how you can't really do anything. It is going to work a lot differently for the actual TCG. So in Pocket, turn 1, you cannot put down any energies. You can also not attack unless you get lucky with Misty, because, Misty allows you to put down energies, and if you have energies, you could technically attack. And you can also play supporter cards on your first turn. With the actual TCG, you can attach energies, you cannot play supporters, you cannot attack, but you can play item cards. Now, this is important because there's a lot of different cards in the TCG. So you'll have like Nest Ball, for example. That's an item card you can play down. You can kind of set up your bench and put Pokemon down, but you can't play supporter cards like Professor's Research. You cannot play that on your first turn. Now, I kind of want to put like a little star or an asterisk next to all these because there are kind of exceptions with certain cards. Certain cards have different abilities and things like that that kind of bend the rules a little bit, but those are all very specific things that you kind of learn with time. This right here is kind of just the general basis for the game. Now, another big kind of barrier to entry, I guess, is kind of figuring out where to start and, figuring out what decks are actually good in the game. It can be kind of, interesting because you'll pull up a stream or something, you see all different kinds of decks. This right here is a solid list of some of the meta decks right now, and this is going to be changing because Surging Sparks just came out. We're already seeing the effect that it has on the game, so we're seeing a couple new decks. We're seeing some additional cards added to decks that, make some decks better than the ones that are currently good. So it is something that always changes. About every 2 to 3 months, we get a new set, and that comes with different cards. And, with every deck, you can customize, your 60 cards, basically. So maybe with this new set, you'll get one card that makes this deck really, really good. So it kind of always shifts around. But this right here is a solid list of some of the decks that have been good and likely will continue to be good with the Surging Sparks format. Now, obviously, some of these decks are going to move up and down, but this right here is a solid list to kind of get you started. So if you're interested in any of these decks just because they're your favorite Pokemon or they sound cool, definitely look them up and you'll be able to find gameplay online. Now, as far as where to start, my recommendation recommendation for any new player is to pick a deck that you like, that is actually fun to play, but also pick a deck that is easy to understand. Some of these decks can be very complicated. Like there's a lot of different things you have to do. There's a certain playstyle you have to follow, or sometimes you have so many different options and they're very specific for certain matchups. So a lot of times decks can be very confusing. Now, one deck that I think is pretty simple to understand and honestly a great starting point is definitely Raging Bolt. Especially if you're coming from Pokemon Pocket, really the concept of Raging Bolt is you're trying to draw cards as fast as possible. You're trying to get as many energy cards down as possible because you'll be able to do as much damage as possible. Now, as you can see with Raging Bolt EX, this is going to be your main attacker for the deck. Your first attack, you don't really use much. This is kind of like turn one if you have nothing really good, or throughout the game, if there's nothing else you can really do, you can always go for Burst Roar. But really, you're focusing on that second attack, which is Bellowing Thunder, and it does 70 damage for each energy card that you discard from your Pokemon. And this is not just Raging Bolt, this is all your Pokemon on your bench and everything. And this pairs really, really nicely with Teal Mask Ogerpon. And the reason for that is because Teal Mask Ogerpon has an ability that lets you attach an energy from your hand to that Pokemon and actually draw a card. Now this is in addition to the energy that you can play on your turn, right? So you can put down an energy, then you can use Ogerpon's ability, attach another energy, and if you have multiple Ogerpons on your bench, let's say you have 3 Ogerpons, you have 3 grass energy in your hand, then basically that's 3 more energy down. That's already a lot more damage that you're doing. And so you'll see this a lot with different decks. You'll have like a main attacker and you'll have a lot of support Pokemon that kind of support that main attacker. And this is kind of the case with Raging Bolt. You can attack with Teal Mask Ogerpon, and in some matchups, it's actually very helpful. But for the most part with this deck, you're going to be attacking with Raging Bolt. And again, you're using all your support cards, all your support abilities, and things like that to get as many energy down as possible. That way you can do as much damage as possible. Now, before I actually show you guys some gameplay of Raging Bolt to kind of give you an idea of how the deck functions, I do want to show you guys some good resources that are really good to use if you're first starting out in the game. Obviously, the first good resource is going to be Limitless TCG, which is a website, and this is a website that has the tournament results for all the big tournaments, even all the smaller tournaments. Like there's a lot of city leagues in Japan, they have all the deck lists on there, but you'll be able to actually go in here and see the deck lists that people use. You can copy them and paste them directly into Pokemon TCG Live, and so this is a great way to kind of keep up with the meta, see what is doing well, see what is doing bad, and basically give it a shot and test out the decks that you want. It's also a great place to find online events. You can find online tournaments there. So if you're trying to enter stuff online to kind of get better and get more practice, it's definitely the place to do it. I also recommend checking out the official YouTube channel for Pokemon, because over there you get to see tournament gameplay. It can be very helpful. People are giving good commentary, kind of explaining the gameplay, how things are working. They actually really like renovated the graphics for this season compared to like last season, so there's a lot more information on the screen, so it can be very helpful if you're first starting out. But that's going to be your main source to actually see gameplay. And then of course I recommend checking out the Pokemon website, where you can actually find where your local events are. So they have a little search bar on there. You can put in your zip code and it'll show you all the local tournaments nearby. You might be surprised, but there actually are a lot of tournaments depending on where you're at. I know where I'm at, there's tournaments every day of the week, so there's always stuff going on. So if I wanted to, I can go to a local tournament literally every single day. Yeah, those are some good resources that I have for you guys. And one last piece of advice before we get into the deck list is you need to be okay with losing. At first, it's going to be very confusing. You're going to have cards that do things that you don't understand, and over time, you'll kind of understand how they work. So at first, you are going to lose a lot. I know when I first started out playing, I basically lost a lot at the beginning. I went to my first ever tournament and didn't win a single round. But pretty quickly afterwards, within a month or two, I actually won one of the league challenges nearby that I went to. So you can learn pretty quickly, but you have to be okay with losing, because at first there's just a lot of information coming in. And again, as you kind of figure out a deck and it works for you, that's kind of when I would start to experiment with other decks and really see what it is that you like. With that being said, that's kind of the basics as far as the differences between Pocket and the actual TCG. Also some good resources and some good deck lists to kind of check out. But I don't want to leave you guys empty-handed, so we're going to go ahead and get into some gameplay. I'm going to show you guys how to use Raging Bolt. This is a deck that I don't really play too much, but I do play against it a lot, so I do understand how it works. So yeah, let's go ahead and check it out. That way you guys know where to kind of get started here, and we'll go from there. All right, so here we are in Pokemon TCG Live, and if you guys don't already know, you can get this on your phone or on your computer. I actually have it on both. I kind of like how it is set up on the computer, but it's also convenient to just play on my phone. So here are all the decks that I have built. Have kind of a lot of different ones, but today we're gonna be focusing on Raging Bolt because I want to give you guys some gameplay of a deck that I think is kind of a good place to get started, especially if you don't really have the experience with the TCG. So I'm going to kind of talk about what these cards do, give you guys kind of a little basic overview here, and then I'll show you guys a couple games, and we'll go from there. So we'll start off with the simple stuff right here. Right off the bat, you can see that we do have 3 different energy types here. We have 3 electric energy, we have 3 fighting energy, and I have 5 grass energy. Now the reason for this, as I mentioned earlier, your main attack here is going to be with Raging Bolt with Bellowing Thunder, which requires an electric and a fighting energy. Now the reason we have grass type energy is because of Teal Mask Ogerpon, because once during your turn you can attach a basic grass energy from your hand to this Pokemon, and if you do that you get to draw a card. So again, this is going to be your draw engine. This is going to be what allows you to draw through your deck pretty fast. It lets you get energy down pretty fast, and then you can start swinging with Raging Bolt pretty quickly and start doing 70 damage per energy card that you discard, which is kind of crazy. Now you do see we have a lot of other Pokemon here. It might look a little bit strange because they're all different types. That might seem kind of weird, but a lot of these Pokemon we're using just for the abilities. So for example, Radiant Greninja here, we're only using this in the deck for its ability, Concealed Cards. You get to discard an energy from your hand and you get to draw 2 cards. So again, another ability that lets you do something with energy and draw cards fast. This is going to be very important. We also have Fezandipiti EX. This is one of the good cards that recently came out, kind of recently, because of its ability, Flip the Script. So whenever you have a Pokemon get knocked out by your opponent, you can draw 3 cards on your turn. So you can do that at any point during your turn. So let's say you play supporter cards, you do everything that you can, then you can draw your 3 cards. Or at the very start of your turn, you can draw your 3 cards, see what you got, and then work with that. It's kind of whatever you want to do. It's all about sequencing, which you kind of learn about as you go on in this game. But again, we're using it just for the ability. Same thing with Iron Bundle. This thing basically just sits on your bench, and whenever you want, during any of your turns, you can use this ability where you take this Pokemon, you put it in your discard, and your opponent is forced to swap out their active with one of their bench. So basically kind of like Sabrina, that's basically what it does, except that it's an ability on a Pokemon here. We also have Lumineon. This is a very good card. You have to play this from your hand to your bench, and whenever you do that, you get to look for any supporter card in your deck. It can be very clutch because there's a lot of really good supporter cards. But it only works if you do it from your hand, right? So this is kind of the tricky thing with the TCG, is that you have to really pay attention to the wording here, because it says you have to play it from your hand, right? So let's say I use like a Nest Ball to go find this, and it goes straight to my bench. That's technically not from my hand, so then I cannot use the ability. It's very specific. We do also have another attacker in the deck. This is Slither Wing. So this right here is very matchup specific. I'm guessing it's kind of mostly for Terapagos, which is a very popular deck right now. This is a list that I got from a recent tournament, which I will have linked below. And I forget exactly whose deck it is, but I will have it on there. But it is from the recent LAIC tournament, which is a big event where Raging Bolt did kind of okay. There was a couple people that did really good with the deck. But again, I'm like 90% sure that's why this is included, because it is a strong attacker that can one-shot Terapagos. And the last Pokemon we have is Squawkabilly EX, which we don't really attack with too often, but we can. And we do use it for its ability, because once during your first turn, and only on your first turn, you can discard your whole hand and draw 6 cards. So again, a really good way to kind of burn through your deck fast, draw cards. It's a really good ability to have. Now, its attack is kind of interesting because sometimes you will use it. If it's turn 1 and this isn't your active and there's really not much you can do, you can use Motivate for 20 damage, and you'll be able to attach 2 basic energies from your discard to any of your benched Pokemon. So this can be a good way to kind of start adding those energies on if there's really nothing else you can do in your turn. Now here we have all the trainer cards. I'm not going to go like super in depth with this. I'll kind of give you a general overview just because I feel like it's going to take a while. But if you guys are interested in more detailed breakdowns of some of these decks, or on my list that I showed you of some of the popular decks, if you want to see any specific decks, let me know in the comments, and then I can make another video kind of going into more depth about it. A lot of these are cards that you are going to use for multiple different decks, so you will see a lot of these pretty often. Right off the bat, you do have your A-Spec. Now you can only have one A-Spec in your deck at all. Like, you can only have one. There's a lot of different A-Specs, so you have to choose very carefully which one you want. They're all very powerful item cards or tool cards. I of course have Prime Catcher, one of the best ones. Basically, you can choose any of your opponent's bench Pokemon, swap it to the active, and then you pick any of your bench Pokemon, you swap it to the active, and a lot of times that can just win you the game. So it's a very strong card. Highly recommend. Now for supporter cards, you're only going to have 2, but they're very important. First one is Boss's Orders. Basically Sabrina, right? Except that you get to choose which Pokemon you bring in, so very strong. Your main supporter, though, is going to be Professor Sada's Vitality. So you get to choose 2 of your ancient Pokemon. Ancient are, for example, Raging Bolt versus Ancient right there on the top right. And basically, you get to attach up to 1 energy per ancient card out of those 2. And if you do that, you get to draw 3 cards as well. So basically, this gets energies from your discard pile back into the game, and you get to also draw cards on top of that. Pretty broken, works very well, and it's a very strong card. Now, all these other cards are, pretty self-explanatory when you actually take a look at them. Again, I'll have the list in the description below. A lot of these are Pokemon search options or ways to retrieve energies. Or if you like flipping coins, you can use Pokemon Catcher. If you get a head, you get to swap in a Pokemon like Boss's Order for free. You have Earthen Vessel. It's a great way to find energies. A lot of really good cards here. Again, if you want more detailed explanation, I can definitely give you guys that. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments. But I don't want to spend too much time going over the item cards. Basically, all you need to know is attack with Raging Bolt. Use everything else to support it. Use, Ogerpon to draw cards. And that's basically how the deck works. Now, if you're first starting out with TCG Live, you might not have access to all of these cards, and that's okay. Just kind of get what you have, and over time, as you play more games, you'll be able to unlock more cards. And obviously, if you have actual Pokemon cards, they come with the code card in the pack, so you can start scanning those. But you'll get them eventually. I know it kind of sucks at first, but eventually you'll get enough to build at least, one good deck, and then, like I said, from there, you'll kind of grow and be able to use different decks after that. That being said, let's go ahead and get some gameplay. I am in the Lugia tier. I kind of fell off because I have not playing as much. So I do actually need to climb up here. Let me make sure I actually choose this deck as my active one. We'll see what happens. Like I said, this is a deck that I really haven't used too much, honestly. Mainly because, like, in real life, Teal Mask Ogerpons are kind of crazy. I know I don't know if they went down in price at all, but I know for a while it was like 10, 12 bucks for an Ogerpon. You need like 4 of them. So like right off the bat, you're already spending almost 50 bucks. It's kind of crazy. But the good thing with deck building, in real life is that, oh yeah, with this deck, a lot of times you want to go second because you can't attack turn 1 unless you're going second. And with this deck, you can pretty consistently get attacks off right away. So a lot of times you actually do want to go second. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's looking pretty good right here. I'm not going to put Slither Wing down because I'm really not going to use it unless I need to. Kind of see here. Yeah, it's got a really bad retreat cost. It's got 3. But yeah, as I was saying, cards can be expensive, some cards, but for the most part, a lot of cards you can get pretty cheap, and a lot of them you can use in different decks anyways, so you'll be able to kind of reuse cards, you know what I mean? It's usually just like 1 or 2 specific cards that are kind of expensive. Like Prime Catcher for a while was like 30 bucks. Now it's going down in price. But it's one of those cards where you kind of actually need it, So we're actually going up against Chien Pao here, which is interesting. This is a deck that used to be very good, and right now it's kind of not. Again, you kind of see how that works. So right off the bat here, what I'm going to do, I kind of want to get Squawkabilly down, but at the same time, I want to be able to start drawing cards here. And I also want to get an energy into my discard. That way I can use Professor Sada. So I'm going to go ahead and get Greninja first. I'm going to go ahead and conceal cards. Going to put that in the discard. 2. From that we get the Ogerpon. I'm going to go ahead and put a Bravery Charm down, just so I have it down. It's going to increase my health here. We're going to go Trekking Shoes. Do I want to take that? I'm going to say no. Oh, actually, yeah, that's fine. Okay, I think I kind of messed up here. I was trying to get 2 energies in my discard. That didn't work. Okay. Let's go ahead and use a Sada. See what happens here. We do have another Nest Ball. This will get my Squawkabilly. Now I'm going to go ahead and use Teal Dance. Attach an energy. That way I can draw some more. The Energy Retrieval. This kind of sucks that I'm going to have to burn these, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and Ultra Ball away. We're going to go ahead and get another Teal Mask Ogerpon on the bench. And since I'm going to discard my hand, I might as well just use my Night Stretcher, bring back the Raging Bolt. We're not going to need Slither Wing in this game. Again, that's one of those cards for like specific matchups. Go ahead and get rid of my hand here. Probably not going to be able to attack here, but that's okay. You have a ton of Earthen Vessels. And I do have a Sada, which is really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to Earthen Vessel away again. I'm going to take a Grass Energy this time. That way I can use Teal Mask again. Get to draw another card. Another Trekking Shoes. I do want to get some more energies in my discard pile just because Sada is really good. So I'm probably not going to be able to attack this turn, but that's okay. Let's actually do this, because I might use Burst Roar here, I don't know yet. Let's go ahead and attach for our turn, Trekking Shoes. Take a PokéStop. It's going to actually kind of help them a little bit, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Okay. I kind of don't want to discard my hand, honestly, so I think I just pass here. Yeah, because I really have no other way to attach an energy, unfortunately. I don't want to get rid of my hand here because I already have, what, 2 Sadas in here? Yeah, 2 Sadas, and then that will be my 3rd Sada in there. And I kind of need Sada for next turn, so... Starting next turn, I can really start swinging here. Hopefully, we can get a strong attack off next turn. But yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of moving layers. I literally burned through my whole deck already. There's only 18 cards left, which is kind of crazy. This is my whole discard right here. But the good thing is we have our Ogerpons up. They're starting to get energies. It's kind of unfortunate that I had to attach a grass here. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But I would have liked to attack that turn, but it's fine. Okay. I think there's a chance that I actually might die this turn. We'll see. So basically the way that PAL works is that you're able to... Okay, never mind. Yeah, I was gonna say they don't really have like water energy, which they kind of need. So we're kind of chilling. It's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and Sada right off the bat. Beautiful. Honestly, a Prime Catcher would be very nice right here. That would be just fantastic. If I could get a Prime Catcher here, or Pokemon Catcher. Like to roll the dice? We need a heads here. Of course we get a tails. Ooh, that's actually tough. I'm kind of throwing here in a little bit, not gonna lie. Okay, then Night Stretcher is gonna come in clutch later on. We're gonna go ahead and conceal cards. Gonna get Prime Catcher. Oh, my bench is full, man. Should have waited to fill that up. Let's see, it's just 60 damage. Yeah, this is kind of tough here. I could go energy. No, I can't. I think I just go ahead and knock it out, honestly. I think I just go ahead and knock it out. So we'll go Bellowing Thunder. You can always choose how many, or like, you know, what specific energy you get rid of too, which is kind of nice. So in this case, I just need to get rid of 1 because all I need to do is 70 damage. Kind of unfortunate. I might have actually prized my Prime Catcher. I didn't think about that. There's a good chance that I prized it. But yeah, basically the way that PAL works, just for reference here, with Baxcalibur, its ability lets you attach as many basic water Pokemon from your hand to your Pokemon. So as you can see, the way that that deck works is you're trying to get all the water energies in your hand, attach them to PAL, and you will do 60 damage for every water that you discard from your hand. Or from your Pokemon, sorry. So it's kind of similar, honestly, to Raging Bolt in a way. The main way to kind of beat PAL is to just focus on knocking out Baxcalibur because that's kind of your engine to get those water energy going, and without Baxcalibur, there's really not much you can do. Got the Lumineon. This is unfortunate. They're probably going to hit me with an Iono, I would imagine, if they have it. People run that in PAL? Maybe not. I don't even know. Like I said, PAL kind of fell off. It's kind of crazy. PAL used to be crazy, and then it really just fell off. Yeah, he's going to knock me out here. That's fine, though. He's honestly burning a lot here by doing that. How many water energy does he have? Oh my goodness. That's a little crazy. wonder what the Hourglass does. I know it has to do with energy. Okay. So honestly, here he really has no hand. So I might just boss up the Chien-Pao. I don't think he really has a way to get more waters, to be honest. Let's see what we want to do here. I mean, honestly, I just bossed up the Baxcalibur because it's going to take him so long to evolve another one. And I think that's just kind of fine. So we'll use Teal Dance. We'll use Teal Dance again, just to get more energy down. I probably shouldn't have filled up my bench so much, but it is what it is. I do kind of want to make sure that I get some energy down here, so I think I'm going to go Energy Retrieval. Take a Grass, Electric. Go ahead and attach an Electric for turn. I'm not going to conceal cards or PokéStop just because I really have no reason to. And I will go for Bellowing Thunder instead. Let's get rid of a Grass over there. Grass over here. Question is, does he knock me out next turn? It's what, 5? I think he probably does, honestly, so. Okay, I had to think for a second. I was like, am I doing my math right? Yeah, just. Okay, perfect. So my thought process there is, even if he knocks me out, I can attack next turn. And then I'll be winning the prize trade, and he has no Baxcalibur on the bench to start setting up again, so you know, he'll get one attack off here, he'll knock me out maybe, but I basically killed his support engine, you know what I mean? That's kind of the big thing with Chien-Pao that I feel like I struggle with a lot when I first learn the game. I always focus on Chien-Pao because, man, it's doing so much damage, but if you take out the support, there's really not a whole lot they can do, really. Now, one thing to actually kind of watch out too with Raging Bolt is just running out of cards. As you can see, the deck gets very low here, so you got to be careful, right? If I were to go Fezandipiti, draw 3 cards, PokéStop, draw 3 more cards, then I'm out of cards, you know? So you got to be careful sometimes. So yeah, he's probably going to get the knockout here. Really, it's going to kind of come down to if he can somehow get Baxcalibur, but I don't see how he gets it out. I wish I could get rid of my PokéStop, that'd be nice, but it's not gonna happen. Yeah, let's go Raging Bolt. Okay, anything I need from, not really. I do have Night Stretcher, so I can always get something. Let me just use this so I can check here. Okay, I do have a Prime Catcher. So again, honestly, if I can get that Frigibax in, he really cannot win because he can't really do damage to knock out Raging Bolt. But then I only get 1 prize card, so that's what kind of sucks. Do I really need to bench a Raging Bolt? I feel like not really. Maybe just in case. Now I gotta be very careful here that I don't run out of cards. And I think that I actually might, because I can't really go for Sada. Oh, this is kind of tough. Okay. We gotta be careful here. I don't want to run out of cards. I'm gonna go Teal Dance. Hopefully I just like draw into Prime Catcher. That would be perfect. Of course. Oh, I do have a Pal Pad though. I do have a Pal Pad, so that's kind of nice. So let me actually go Pal Pad here. If I get bosses, that'd be kind of crazy. Yeah, we'll see. Prime Catcher, that works too, honestly. I'm just trying to decide right now between going for the Frigibacks or going for the Chien Pal here. I mean, he would kind of need a lot to get a Bax Caliber, right? But he has a PokéStop, man. That's what kind of scares me a little bit. It's like, what do I go for here? I think to be safe, I'm basically rolling dice if I don't knock out that Frigibacks. Which is kind of tough. Fighting Energy. Let's go Energy Retrieval as well. You just won't be able to like attach them actually. So you know what? Let's play it safe. Honestly, at this point, my main concern is that I just run out of cards. That's honestly what I'm most concerned of right here. So let's go Bellowing Thunder, knock it out. Because now it's like he can do damage to me, but he can't really set up the way that he wants to. Be nice if I could draw into a boss's orders next. Be very nice. Yeah, see, now he's got all the water energy, but he can't just attach how he wants to. He can only attach one per turn. There we go. PokéStop working in my favor. Getting no items from them. And he just has to pass, see? There's the boss's orders. Exactly what I was wanting. Dude, this is kind of tough, not gonna lie. Okay, need to make sure that I do not run out of cards here. I should be fine, honestly, because, yeah, I can just boss Lumineon, and then next turn I can go for Sada. So I should be chilling here. With Teal Dance. Yeah. There's nothing else you can do. So, see, right there is kind of me thinking, I could have went for Chien Pal, but again, I was like, I'll take my chances by knocking out the Frigibacks, because at that point, you have to just manually attach. My biggest fear there was kind of running out of cards to draw, but I guess I really didn't need to draw cards. I had plenty of energy down, so. Yeah, we're ranking up a little bit, but that's kind of like a little basic overview of how to play Raging Bolt. I hope that kind of makes sense. The general game plan there, again, as you play more, you'll kind of understand it more, but, you know, go for Teal Mask, Ogerpon's ability, get those energies down, and just start swinging with Raging Bolt. It's really as simple as it is. Now, obviously, every deck is more complex, right? At higher level and all that stuff, but if you're just trying to get into the game, I definitely recommend Raging Bolt. I think it's a great place to start. And as you're kind of playing on the ladder, playing against people, you'll kind of see other decks that might interest you, and that's when you can start pivoting into those. So I hope all that makes sense. I know it's kind of a long video, but again, if there's any decks that you want to see me try out, let me know in the comments. If you want me to go more in depth about the game or kind of explain certain things that are a little bit confusing, just let me know. I'm happy that a lot of people are getting interested in the TCG. I think it's a really fun game, and I'm really glad to just see it growing overall. It's kind of crazy how much tournament numbers have grown in the last year, and I think it's just going to keep growing on top of that. But if this video was helpful or you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, help me out there, like the video as well, and again, comment, let me know what you guys need. Other than that, got nothing else for you guys. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you on the next one.